Good morning, everybody. As we go to the Chitas of today, we're holding in the portion of Vayera. We're holding on the fourth portion. Today is Wednesday. We're holding in chapter 7, verse number 8. Vayem Hashem Moshe v'Elad and Leiman. God said to Moshe, now is saying, Kidab alechem pari Leiman. When the party will speak to you, saying, Tu lachem moifis, give us a miracle. And you'll sell to that. Take your stick, and throw it before the Pharaoh, and it'll become a serpent, a snake. Mayface over here means an ois, a sign to make it known that the power of the one who's sending you. The sanin, Rashi says, a nachash, a snake. And they did kasha etziv Hashem, like God commanded. Lifnei pari and Aaron sent his staff before the Pharaoh. Lifnei avada, before his servants. Vayhi l'san, and it turned into a serpent. Vayikagam pari l'chacham l'chashofim, and pari called his wise men and his magicians. Vayasu gamim chartumi mitzrayim, and they also, the chartumim of Mitzrayim, did the exact same thing with their sticks, and they turned it into snakes. Rashi says, meaning with the incantation, they used to do these whispering, these magic. The words b'lateim is no similar in the rest of the scripture. Maybe, however, compared to the blades lahat, of the revolving sword mentioned later, which seems to be revolved because of a magic spell. And they each threw down their stick, and they turned into snakes. And what happened was Aaron's snake turned back into a stick, and it basically swallowed up their snakes. Now she says after they had become a staff, it swallowed up all their snakes. Nevertheless, the Pharaoh's heart remained steady fast. And he did not listen to them. As God said, that his heart will be strengthened. And God said to Moshe, Kabile Pari, Paro's heart is heavy. To send the people. Now she says, Kaved is heavy over here. The Aramaic translation of Kaved over here is Yakir, which is heavy. Lecha, verse 15, Lecha, Pari, go to Pari by baking in the morning. Hina Yetza, Maimi goes out to the water. You should stand opposite him on the bank of the Nile. And the staff that you have turned into a snake, take in your hand. Now she says, what is he going to the water every morning? He goes out to relieve himself. He had to deify himself. He said, I don't have to go to the restroom. So he would sneak out in the morning and nobody would see him to relieve himself. So early in the morning, he went out to the Nile there and would perform his needs. You catch him. You'll catch him with his pants down. You'll tell him. The God of the Jews. I sent me to you. Send my people, so they will serve me. You haven't yet heard, you haven't listened. She says the simple meaning is until now. Onkelos, that's the way Onkelos translated. The Medrash interprets until you will hear from me an announcement that the plague of the firstborn. You're not going to listen. He told them right away, in a way, encryptedly. He told them right away that they weren't going to listen until the ultimate plague would come, which is the plague of the death of the firstborn. When I say koi amar Hashem chatzos halayla, you're not like shamata at koi. You will not listen until you'll hear me saying, "This is what God said. At the midnight, all the firstborns will die." Koi amar Hashem. This is what God said. B'zay state that this how you know Kani Hashem, that I am God. I'm going to strike the water. Asher b'ya'or, that's in the Nile. And the water is going to turn into blood. Now she says, since there was no rainfall in Egypt, and the Nile ascended and the water to the land, so the Egyptians worshipped the Nile. It became a god to them. The first thing what he did, the first plague was to hit the god of Egypt, was Nile. All the fish in the Nile will die. And the Nile will become putrid. And the Egyptians will be weary in their efforts to drink water from the Nile, but they will not be able to. Rashi says, the Egyptians will become weary and try to seek a remedy for the waters of the Nile so that it would fit to drink. Verse 19, God said to Moshe, tell Kakas Matcha, give him your stick. When let him reach out his hand on Mitzrayim in the waters of Egypt. On the Reseim, on their rivers, Val Yereim, on their canals, Val Gameim, on their ponds, Val Kol Mikveh, Memeim. All the bodies of water. It's going to turn into blood. There's going to be blood all over Egypt. Even in the woods, even in the stones. Now she says, since the Nile protected Moshe when he was casted in the Nile by his mother, it therefore was not smitten by him, neither the blood nor the flogs, but it was done by Aaron. Expression is, don't spit in the plate that fed you. So here he was saved through the Nile in a way. So therefore he did not do the plague of blood or of frogs. They're saying, now she says these are the rivers that flow from the Nile. Yereim, these are the man-made pools and the ditches extending from the riverbank to the fields. When the water of the Nile increases, when there's a tide rises, the Nile rises to the canals and irrigates the fields. Agmeim, these are the water that does not spring from beneath the ground and does not flow to other places, but stands in its place. It's called Agmeim. It's called At Ashtank in Hebrew and in French. Even the bathhouses and in the bathtubs of the house. Water in the wooden vessels and in stone vessels. That's how Rashi translates it. That's not talking about in the rock. It's talking about the stone vessels that were made into vessels, stones and wood that were made into vessels to hold water. That's what Moshe did. He lifted up his hand in the stick. He struck the water. It's in the Nile. In front of Pharaoh, in front of his servants. All the water turned into blood. Mason, all the fish that was in the river, all died. And it became putrid, self-understood. And the people could not drink water. There was blood throughout the whole land of Egypt. And these magicians did the same thing. And they strengthened the house of Pare. They said, have a good day. Seems like you're doing magic. Now she says, and the meditation which they uttered silently and secretly, they use these old magician kind of things. Our rabbis, however, means acts of demon, acts of magic. But saying you are doing this through sorcery. It's nothing to do with God. You're bringing straw to Ephraim. You're bringing Ephraim. You bring us to a city full of straw. Like somebody brings straw to a city full of straw. We don't need your straw. We have an abundance of straw. So you're bringing magic to a city full of magic. So you're bringing magic to Egypt. We have more magic than you can imagine. Rashi doesn't answer the simple question that most people ask. Where did they get the water to turn to blood if everything was blood? So Pharaoh turned around and went home. He paid no heed to it. The sign of the staff that had turned into a serpent, he said, I'm not interested in all this kind of stuff. The Egyptians dug around the Nile to water to drink because they couldn't drink from the Nile. And it took 7 days past. after the Lord had smitten the Nile. Rashi says, literally for 7 days were filled. Since the word V'yamala is singular, Rashi explains the number of 7 days that the Nile did not return to original state was filled. For the plague would not affect the quorum of the month. For the plague would be effect for a quarter of a month, and for 3/4 of a month. He, Moshe, exhorted, warned them. So every plague took a month. 3 weeks there was warnings of Moshe, and ultimately every plague was a week. So all these plagues ultimately was 10 months. As we learned, we spoke about this, that the third plague was on Rosh Hashanah, third plague. The 10th plague was on Nisan. It was 7 months later. So the first 3 plagues started Tammuz of Elul. Tishrei was the Tammuz of Elul. Tishrei. The third plague was Tishrei. So it was of Elul. Of was the first plague. Second plague was Elul. Third plague was in Tishrei. Rosh Hashanah, the first day of Tishrei. Hey, Moshe, and God said to Moshe, come to Pari v'mayta and tell him, Hashem. This is what God says, Shalach Ami v'yavduni, send my nation that they can serve me. If you're not going to refuse to let them go, I'm going to smite this entire nation with frogs. Rashi says, Im Sarvanata, meaning if you refuse, man is the word miman, refuses. Negev is chog. Negev means to smite. Similarly, every expression of gefa, plague, which means when something is strucken, is smitten, and they strike the nakfu, the pregnant woman. Also, you see the word naguf does not mean to strike to death. Similarly, before your feet dashing goifu, these your foot be dashed tigoif. So a stone upon which to dash oneself. So when somebody gets hurt, he gets his foot stubbed by a stone. It was negev. It was plagued. It was smitten. It was hurt. It was attacked. Sarat atziyar batzvaidim, and the Nile will swarm with frogs. They'll come into your house. Into your bedrooms. Into on your beds, into the house of your servants, on your nation. They'll even jump into your ovens, in your kneading dough. Rashi says, they'll all come out of the Nile, and afterwards in the house of your servants. He, Pharaoh, introduced the plan first, as it's written. He said to his people, and therefore, the Torah says the punishment goes to you. First, it's going to come into the palace, and then it'll continue to the rest of the nation. And then you and your people and all your servants, Yalo atzvaidim, the frogs will ascend. Rashi says, the frogs will go through the intestines and croak. They'll go into the body. They'll ultimately come. There'll be so many frogs. They'll attack the people. Chapter 8, verse number 1. Moshe, and God said to Moshe, tell on again. Spread your staff over the rivers, over the canals, and over the ponds. And let's bring up the frogs. The land of Mitzrayim. Verse number 2. An iron stretched out his hand in the waters of Egypt. And the frogs came out, and it covered the entire land of Egypt. Now she says, Hatzvardeya is singular. Literally, the frog came out. It was one frog. And then the Egyptians hit it. They saw this frog coming. So they said, oh, this is happening. So all the Egyptians came out to hit this frog. And what happened was this frog split into many swarms. Every time they hit it, millions of frogs came out. This is a midrashic interpretation. For a simple meaning, it can be said that a swarming of frog is referred to as singular. You find it many times in the Torah that the Torah calls many in a singular form in one. As you find later, Vatiakinam, and there was lice, the swarming, even though there were billions of lice, but we call it one. And the Egyptians, magicians did the same thing. And they brought up frogs al Eretz Mitzrayim. So the miracle God that one frog turned into many frogs, they brought up more frogs. So that's what they accomplished. They didn't accomplish what the Abish accomplished, that one frog, every time you hit it, had many frogs, but they brought more frogs. They had the capability to bring up this illusion of many millions of frogs. But it was a terrible situation. So he said to him, listen, pray to God, and let these frogs go away from me. From my nation. And I'll send the people. Okay, I give in. So Moshe told the Pharaoh, boast of your superiority over me. For when shall I entreat you? And when should I pray for you? Okay, you have the power to when I should pray that these frogs should leave. From you and your house, we'll go back to the Nile. Now she says, boast, shall I take an axe, boast over those who are with it. It's praise itself, saying, I am greater than you. Moshe says to Pharaoh, you praise yourself by acting cleverly and asking a difficult thing and saying that I'll be unable to do it. That which I will entreat for you today regarding the extermination of the frogs, tell me, when do you wish them to be exterminated? And you'll see whether I have fulfilled my words for the time that you set for me. If it was stated Masayate, it would mean, when shall I pray? Now that it says Limasai, thus it means today I will pray that the frogs will be exterminated at the time that you set for me. Tell me on which day do you want to be disappear? Taylor uses three words, a'atir. I will entreat, he'etiru, verse number 4. Entreat v'ha'atati, and I will entreat. So all these is a causative concept, that I will create a concept through my prayers. And it doesn't say ha'atir or atiru v'ha'atati, like in a simple connection, because every expression utter means to pray very much. And just as it says in one of the eyebrow, I will increase harbu, verabasi, I will increase. So hatiru means I will increase prayer. It's not just a simple prayer, it's a causative act of prayer. So he answered Lamachar, tomorrow. He said, Kidvarecha. So shall it be what you say. Lamanteda, that you'll know that it's going to happen tomorrow. Exactly what you told me. I'll pray that it happens tomorrow. So that will show you that there's no God like our God. So Rashi says, pray today that it should exterminate tomorrow. We'll see what happens. And this completes the Chumash for today. When I go to the Tanya today, we are starting the 15th chapter of Tanya. So in the previous chapters, we started this, the Beinani started from chapter 12. We were holding chapter 15. So in the previous chapters, the Alter Rebbe discussed the difference between a tzaddik and a Beinani. The difference between a righteous man and a middleman. The tzaddik has no evil inclination. Since there's no longer any evil in his own soul, evil holds no attraction to him. Not only there's no attraction to him, to tzaddik, as we learned, he abhors any kind of concept of anything that's the opposite to God. He hates. And that's what, so he has no feelings to it. He has actually a feeling of hatred towards it. And the Alter Rebbe brings the pasuk from Tehillim, where the David HaMelech says, I hate evil. I hate those who hate God. The Beinani therefore finds evil desirable. And it's only through the constant vigilance. So that's the problem. The Baini, the middleman, doesn't find evil desire. He finds evil desirable. He has a taiva. He has a nefesh bahamis. So he has a taiva for even something that is evil. And therefore, it's a constant vigilance. Right? You said the Shema today. You're going to say, be careful to what your eye sees or what your heart desires. Because I have a nefesh bahamis. I have an animalistic soul. And therefore, I have to be careful with my desires that I have within me. And it's through the constant vigilance and struggle of his divine soul that he's able to prevent his animal soul from implementing its desire in thought, speech, and action. As we mentioned, that we need the Eibish's help. We need God's help to make sure that we don't fall into the desires of our hearts. And that's what we pray. Ask God, even in the morning, we ask God to protect us from anything that is evil, evil people, evil concepts, desires of the heart, etc., etc. Because we need the Eibish's help. We need God's help to overcome my nefesh bahamis. And together, my nefesh l'kisa, my nefesh l'kisa, God, the Torah, and therefore, with both of them together, we overcome our desire, my personal desires of my heart. Now the Alter Rebbe comes and tells us another beautiful concept. And the Alter Rebbe is now going to try to build up our self-confidence and in this war, and to express the importance of this war, and therefore that we should take this war, that our struggle, we should take it in a happy way, not in a sad way, but we should ultimately realize the greatness of our service to God. That we can actually go higher as a Makir Shabali Tshuva, Ein Tzadikin Gemurah Yachal Amid. That as the Gemara says, where about Tshuva stands, where our struggles, that we overcome our struggles, in a way we stand in a higher space in godliness even than a tzaddik. And therefore we shouldn't take our avodah as a pain, but we should take it as a schus. We should take the service of a Beini as a merit. That the Eibishter Pasha gave us a merit to be in this service of God. And this is the way he starts to explain it. In this we'll understand what is written. You'll sit down, you will return, you return, or you will sit. You'll see the difference between a righteous man and a wicked man. Between one who serves God and the one that does not serve him. The Talmud raises the question. The term the righteous man is identical meaning to the one who serves God. So what is the two kinds of people? You see a person between the tzaddik is the one who serves God. Sounds like there's four kind of people here. There's a righteous man, there's a wicked man, there's the one who serves God, and the one who doesn't serve. Seemingly, the one who serves God is a tzaddik. And then the one who doesn't serve him is a rasha. But that's not the verse. So, and the wicked man is obviously one who's not serving. Why then does the text repeat the contrast? And the answer, the Talmud states, both he who serves God and he who serves him not are fully righteous. Yet one who reviews his studies 100 times cannot compare to one who reviews his studies 101 times. So the difference is you have a tzaddik. The Gemara answers you have a tzaddik, two kinds of people. One who serves God, who learns Gemara 101 times, that's the one who serves God. And then you have the one who doesn't serve God, even though he's righteous, he doesn't study the 101 times. That's the way the Gemara says it. And however, this answer seems to clarify only the second set of seemingly repetitive terms. The wicked man is the one who serves him not. Far from being wicked, he who serves him not is so described only because he reviews his Talmud study no more than 100 times. Yet we remain within the difficulty past in the first set of identical description, the righteous man, and he one who serves him. In fact, the above quoted Talmud interpretation of the verse adds yet a third category. He who serves him not. So you can't say he who serves him not is a wicked person. Because that's a wicked person serves his Yetzer Hara. He doesn't serve, not only doesn't serve God, he serves his animal inclination. Yet also in the righteous, it's difficult that the Alter Rebbe now resolves based on his previous distinction between a tzaddik and a bein. So the Alter Rebbe is going to say, he's going to interpret the Gemara as follows: that there's a tzaddik, there's a rasha, and there's a beinoni. And the beinoni is the one who serves God and doesn't serve God. There's two levels in the beinoni. That's basically the Alter Rebbe is going to explain this concept, this Gemara. After the Isem come and look the difference between a tzaddik and a rasha. Big contrast between a tzaddik, a righteous man, and a wicked man. And then we have the middle person, which is the beinoni, that has two different levels: one who serves God and one who doesn't serve God. That's really shocking. So in essence, the tzaddik, what about the tzaddik? Tzaddik doesn't serve God. What is the difference between the tzaddik and the beinoni? Tzaddik doesn't serve God and the beinoni does serve God. Tzaddik. Difference between one who serves God, the Ovid, the beinoni, one who serves God and the righteous man is when you say the one who serves God, meaning that he's in the present tense, he's in the service. He's in the service at this present moment. Meaning he's still in the service of God. The tzaddik is already past the service. He overcame everything. He's in the glory of God. The beinoni is still in the service of God. He's still in commission to serve God. What's the service? The service is that struggle. The struggle that I have with my Yetzer Hara. There's Gaberov to ultimately overpower my evil inclination. To banish him from the small city. So the body, which is like a city whose conquest is the object of both the good and evil nature. So therefore, I'm still in the struggle between my nefesh elikis and my nefesh bahamis, between my godly soul and my animal soul. My struggle is that I don't want to let the animal soul vest itself in the organs of the body through evil thought, speech, or action. Doing battle against the evil nature is avodah. That is service of he who serves God. This constant battle with one's evil nature truly entails much effort. This is not an easy struggle. This is a tough struggle, a lifetime struggle, and it's a great toil. And that's the beinoni, the hainu beinoni. This is the beinoni. The beinoni is in a constant struggle, is in a constant battle, making sure that his natural disposition to gashmias, to evil, to kina, taiva, covered, all these 7 emotions that are negative, and all what we learned in Tanya, the 4 levels of water, desire, and fire, anger, and depression, all these things that I fight, that every person fights with every day, every moment of the day. And he must wage this battle. It is the beinoni who's called, that's the service of God. Who gave me my nefesh bahamis? The Eibishter gave me. Why did the Eibishter give me a nefesh bahamis that I should fight against it? So the Eibishter put me in battle mode since I was born and for the rest of my life. For actively engage at the present. It's not something that's going to happen. It's not something in the past. It's something in the present. Oived Elokim. Am I in the service or am I not? Am I waging a battle or not? We are waging a battle today, a war, a gashmistic war and a ruchnistic war. And this whole thing starts with us. It starts within us, this battle. And it's a battle that we need to be vigilant about, because it's a continuous battle until we vanquish evil, until we overcome evil. It's not going to end. It's not going to end the battle. And if you're going to come laxed in the battle, chas v'shalom, the evil will come stronger. That's the Beinani. The Beinani is like the Marines. And he cannot stop, he cannot rest, and he can't stop in the middle of a machama. You can't take a vacation in the middle of a battle. You can't decide that you're not interested in today. You're not interested in the battle. You're not interested in going to war. I'll call it tomorrow. You can't do that in the middle of a war. About tzaddik, the tzaddik has won the battle. Nikra Eved Havaya. The tzaddik is called a servant of God. B'Shem HaToyer. That's his title. He's already won the battle. He's not in the service, he's a servant. We are in the service, and the tzaddik is a servant. God calls Avram Avinu Avdi, my servant. We are not a servant of God yet. We are in the service of God. But first to a person himself, he did not marry the description of one's active role as the designation of one who serves. Like, for example, servant is similar to the sage, a guy who's a chacham. He's not a Talmud chacham, he's a chacham. We usually call a person a Talmud chacham. What means a Talmud? Talmud is a student of chachma. But then you have a chacham. The Sephardic communities, they have a chacham. He's not a Talmud chacham, he's a chacham. He already passed the Talmud. He already passed the learning stages. He is the chacham. Or the king. He's the king. He doesn't have to become a king. He is the king. Shekvar nasa chacham, he become already a chacham or a melech, he's a king. So to the tzaddik, in a way. Avad, this guy, the tzaddik, is a person that already affected, completely accomplished his service. He's out of the service, he's in the servitude now. He's not in the machama of waging war with his evil within him. He has banished it. It's gone from him, leaving him the seat of the evil nature of his heart void within him. That's the pasuk says. David HaMelech said, "I have my heart is void. I have emptied it out of evil. I'm not fighting with evil anymore. I have vanquished it. Having completed this task, the tzaddik has earned the title servant of God, Eved Havaya. I am the servant of God. But until you become the servant of God, to become the servant of God, you have to first go to the service of God. You got to first do the service. So we see that expression, a righteous man, and he who serves God are not repetitious. He who serves God is not the description of a tzaddik, but a beinani. See, therefore, Alter Rebbe says it. The one who is a tzaddik, he's a servant of God. The one who serves God is a beinani. He's still in the service. He's, like I said, a Talmud chacham. He's a student of wisdom. He's still in the middle of the battle. And the proof that he's that he's still in the middle of the battle shows that he has an animalistic soul. Because the animalistic soul is alive and well in him. So that's the avodah of a beinani. That completes the Tanya of today. That's the service of a beinani, the one who's in the service. So if you feel you're out of the service, then either you're a tzaddik, or as the Alter Rebbe explained, that there could be a beinani that he feels he's out of the service also. He feels that he doesn't want the battle anymore. He doesn't need the battle anymore. He's not doing evil, but he's out of the battle mode. He's gone on vacation of the battle. But really, the beinani, that's a very dangerous part of the beinani, chas v'sholom, that he can feel that he's out of the battle, that he's completed the war. A beinani has to realize, a middleman has to realize that the war is continuously. Avode, he should be an eved, he should be one who serves HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what we have to do. We are the service of God. The Rebbe writes today in Hayom Yom this famous statement, the Gemara, Anan Pala D'Yamam Anan. We are in the service of light. That's our avodah. Our avodah in the world is to serve God, to bring light to the world. We are the workers of the day. Yamama, day is light. So we are the workers of the light of the day, and we do the service of light in the world. Our avodah in a dark world, especially, is to bring light to the world. So not to get involved with the darkness of the world, but Pasha to bring more light to this world. That's the service of a Bein, to bring light to the world. That Mayach Shalat Alev, even in his own little world, that he has a Nefesh Abam, is the more light we bring in, the more we bring in the Avodas Hashem, the more concept of learning Torah, doing mitzvahs, speaking good, thinking good, all these things that we do in our Avodah brings more light into our existence, and automatically your Nefesh Abahamis will disappear. Today is the 29th and 30th day, because tomorrow is a Chodesh. Today is the 29th and 30th days, Tillim from chapter 140 till the end of the Tillim to chapter 150. So it's 10 chapters, chapter 140 to chapter 150. And if you do those 10 chapters, you would do the Tillim of the Chitas of the day. Mitchum tomorrow is a Chodesh, so we're going to start the Chitas a little bit later, 15 minutes later. It's a longer davening. So we'll start the Chitas over here at 8:15. We'll do Chitas at 8:15 p.m. 8:15 a.m. tomorrow. I wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day. I will invite you all in Mitchum tonight at 7 o'clock. We continue that Wednesday night class, 5 different classes at Chabad. I invite you all here, different classes, different subjects. Come and learn together. And we'll give you some little pastries to inspire your Nefesh Bahamas, your animalistic soul. God bless you all. We'll see you in Mitcham tomorrow at 8:15 a.m. 8:15 a.m. Have a wonderful and beautiful day.